never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, obviously I have some more Yang news for everybody. That's what you're here for. Andrew Yang went off on our man Donald Trump. On our POTUS, Donald Trump. He went off. And actually, in my last video, I kind of commented on it about Yang getting angry. Yang, I got kind of irked. We were talking about, kind of jokingly, about him cursing. And we don't see that very often. And I kind of was like poking and prodding at that. I thought it was kind of funny. But I delved a little deeper into that scenario about what was pissing Yang off so much. Because I really wanted to know what got under his skin. And I actually have a clip of him going off kind of sort of on CNN. I don't want to say going off, but he pretty much called Trump out because Trump released an ad. And it was a pretty fictitious ad. And I'm no fan of Biden. Biden's not getting my vote. Trump's not getting my vote. And I'm not stupid enough to believe that not voting for Biden is a vote for Donald Trump. Neither one of them has earned my vote. I'm no fan of Biden. You guys all know that. If you watch the show, you know that. However, this ad was false as fuck. Like, it just wasn't true. And they spliced stuff out and they made it seem a certain way. Look, if you're going to bash Biden, if you're going to get on Biden, get on him about legitimate things. You don't have to, he's already a bad enough candidate. Like, you don't have to make stuff up and splice things and skew stuff to make him look worse. That's just making you look bad and desperate. So Yang was on CNN and they questioned him about it and he had a response. We're going to watch that video and we're going to come back.
The Trump campaign's latest attack ad is portraying former Vice President Joe Biden as soft on China and coronavirus.
It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper.
What a beautiful history we wrote together.
Banning all travel will not stop it.
The president is right. That travel restriction on China, as every public health official we've talked to said, bought the country time.
That was a very smart move right there.
Hysterical xenophobia. Dear mine. Xenophobia. I complimented him on dealing with China.
The ad misleadingly takes Biden's words out of context. He has not opposed coronavirus-related travel restrictions. The ad also doesn't make clear that the man depicted in this split-second image, and I just want to show this to you. We had to pause it because it's important you see it because he's not a Chinese official. He's American. His name is Gary Locke. He's a former Washington state governor. He's the former U.S. ambassador to China. He is Chinese-American. He is American. You know, Andrew, the Trump campaign responded to the criticism about this today. Their spokesman, Tim Murdoch, tweeted this. He said, the shot with the flag specifically places Biden in Beijing in 2013. It's for a reason. That's the Hunter Biden trip. Memory lane for old Joe. But of course, the person that he's with is Locke, Gary Locke. What do you think this was really about?
I think it's very clear that they're casting Gary Locke, who was born in Seattle, Washington, was the two-term governor of Washington state, and was Secretary of Commerce under President Obama, as a Chinese leader. And that's flat out wrong on so many levels. The ad is trying to distract from Trump's epic mismanagement of the coronavirus that has cost us 2 months of being able to identify patients and trace their contacts. Instead, we've wound up in our homes trying to mitigate the spread. It's cost our economy trillions of dollars, cost our families thousands of lives, cost us millions of jobs. And so he's trying to distract from that. And unfortunately, this ad is consistent with him calling COVID-19 or the new coronavirus the Chinese virus. He's trying to cast it as a foreign agent, a foreign effort. And I'll tell you who gets hit the worst from this. It's Chinese Americans and Asian Americans who've already reported hundreds, even thousands of assaults around the country. I like it boils my blood that he's trying to distract from his epic failures by racializing this virus.
So, yeah, like Yang said, that ad is just flat out wrong on so many levels. And what I will say is Trump's already started the attacks on Biden in a sense. And in these attacks, these certain attacks, he's not really wrong. I remember he was getting questioned by a reporter, and they're asking what he thought about what Biden said or put on Twitter or put online or whatever. And Trump was like, Biden didn't write that. Biden probably has no idea that they even said that. Those were Democratic operatives putting out statements and saying it was Biden's. Biden didn't write that. Biden had nothing to do with that. If you question him on it, you probably have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And it's true. Oh, it's true.
Oh, it's true.
It's damn true.
So, I mean, the attacks have already started. And Trump was like, the guy has no idea what's going on. Like, see, those kind of attacks, those ring true. Because there's an underlying sense of truth to it. But like when you're taking an ad and you're misinterpreting stuff purposely and things along that nature, I don't think those ads work. They only work with the people that want them to work. That already, you can put out anything and they're going to fucking love it. But for the people that are on a fence or for the people that are stuck between a rock and a hard place, those kind of ads don't work. They make you look desperate. And so that's what Yang was irritated about. And he has every right to be. He has every right to be. So I just wanted to touch upon that. Now, I spoke to the one, the only, Scott Stantons. And listen, when you guys comment, I check out as many comments as I can. And I do read them. Just know if you leave something, even if it happens to be a couple hours later, I'm going to read it. And somebody was pointing out that Scott was talking about Spain and UBI, and I had literally just dropped the video about Spain and UBI. And what every news outlet is calling it a universal basic income, even myself. But after talking to Scott, what they're doing is, and it's slightly different from UBI, it's minimum income, or some people are calling it basic income. There's no universal. And what I mean is, not everybody's getting it. Now, what they're doing is still, in my opinion, a step above what we're doing, but it's not as high on the ladder as I had first anticipated. So what Spain is doing is minimum income, basic income, and it's for the less fortunate, for the people that are being hit by this pandemic the hardest, and for people that are really struggling. So it's not universal. Just like when Tulsi Gabbard was talking about a UBI, and she put a cap on it. I don't know if you'd call that universal basic income, because there's a cap. Not everybody gets it. Now, same with Spain. There's a cap. So not everybody's going to get it. Still a step above what the U.S. is doing, in a sense, but still not universal basic income. But they're on the right track. But if you were to go to every news outlet, if you go to paper, if you go to media, even though the media really isn't covering it the way they should. I know the Hill Rising talked about it. They called it universal basic income. But just to clarify, because I never want to put out false information or false narrative, it's basic income, right? Slightly different from UBI. So thank you, Scott Stantons, for clearing that up. I appreciate you, brother. And on to other news. Our good friend Joe Rogan. Good old Joe. He was talking about the recent backlash that happened. If you guys don't remember, Joe Rogan was saying something along the lines of, I would vote for Trump before I'd vote for Biden, and people lost their shit. right? But I actually genuinely understand where he's coming from. And the way people are viewing Joe, people with common sense are viewing Joe, is he's like the John Everybody. I know a lot of times you hear me say Susan Know Nothing, John Everybody. He's that John Everybody. Like, he really doesn't know politics. And he'll tell you himself he doesn't know politics. But like I've said on the show, the DNC is trying to push a man with dementia on us. And it just don't feel right voting for him. And in some other outlets, again, I'll mention the Hill Rising and other places, they were saying, like, a lot of people would be voting based on his VP. And the Yang Gang kind of fell into that spectrum for quite a while. I noticed a lot of Yang Gang wasn't fucking with Biden. They realized he's a bad candidate. We all came into agreement thinking Joe Biden's a bad candidate, right? But if he would have adopted Yang or made Yang's policies, you can't adopt Yang. He's a grown-ass man. I don't think Evelyn would like that if he adopted Yang and was sniffing his hair. So you can't adopt Yang. But if he adopted his policies and or made him his VP or something along those lines, you could hold your nose and cast a vote, right? He didn't do any of that because he doesn't care. Joe Biden's in it for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not in it for the people. But he didn't do that. So now people are stuck in this conundrum. Like, do we do 4 more years of Trump? Or do we get Biden in there? And it might be slightly better. But he is a pervert and a potential rapist. And it's like, it's a tough decision. And Joe Rogan represents that. And, yeah, Rogan was just talking about the backlash that he received. But in this backlash, Rogan was talking about, and I mentioned this because I know Rogan was getting a lot of heat from Yang Gang, because at one point, Rogan was mentioning people he fucked with. He mentioned Tulsi Gabbard, he mentioned Bernie Sanders, and people were like, the fuck, you didn't mention Yang. But he came out later and said, I forgot to mention Andrew Yang. So he reiterated this time around, like, he only interviewed people he fucks with. And he has a top 3, just like I have a top 3. And it's funny, we have the same top 3. I believe the order's different. So my top 3 was Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard. His, I believe, is Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang. Regardless, they're in the top 3. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Still kudos to you. But he mentioned he only had people on the show that he fucks with that are genuine people. And in it, he mentioned Andrew Yang. So I'm actually going to play that clip because I feel even to this day, a lot of Yang Gang still hold some ill will towards Joe Rogan. So I'm going to play this clip. Maybe that you guys will put him on the Forgive You page. I don't know. But I'm going to play the clip and we'll come back.
Time, too, because it's right before the election. You know, election comes in November. Like, imagine if this shit was going on right now and the election was like next week.
God.
Can you imagine?
Chaos. Your boy Bernie dropped out.
Yep. It's a wrap.
Biden ain't beating Trump.
Nope.
That's your best? That's the guy?
It shows you how crazy the system is, that they wanted him, that they
It's nuts.
wanted Biden to be their guy, that they can't admit that he's in cognitive decline.
I mean,
it's very strange.
Listen, I fuck up all the time. I speak for a living. I fuck up all the time. But
There's a
Biden?
difference.
Biden?
No.
He
there's a
fucks
difference.
up, man. You're a politician.
I fuck up all the time, too, but we're also talking live for hours and hours and hours at a time. If I had a prepared thing that I was doing.
Like my stand-up.
Yeah.
I don't fuck up in.
You would be sharp as fuck if you
Yes.
were having one of those conversations where they're asking you. Look, if someone wants to ask me questions about things that I understand, like MMA or like comedy, like if you want to ask me questions about things that I think about and talk about all the time.
You have your black belt in both
Yeah,
those.
I can talk to you and really clearly about those things and make a lot of sense. He can't do that about politics, and he's been a politician forever.
And that's your shit.
He's a guy who's suffering. He's in decline, and they're going to try to whale him out. And whoever his VP is, whether it's Kamala Harris or
Michelle
whoever
Obama.
it is, maybe whoever it is, but that's who you're voting for. You know, it's sort of like when Dick Cheney was basically running the country.
Yep.
Well, George Bush was the president.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We'll see.
There's no way he beats Trump.
He doesn't beat Trump.
Not a chance.
No, not a chance. Especially because of the timing of this. Right now, we're in the shit right? We're in the April shit. This is the worst time of the corona. A lot of people are dying. There's a slight drop-off in New York. People dying less today than yesterday. Slight drop-off yesterday from the day before. So things are looking pretty good. California,
May, it's going to be.
Yeah, California is looking very good, right?
Yeah, we're crushing it, huh?
California is looking very good. So, and then, where's that? Oh, here it is. And so, and then you go June, July, August. Hopefully everything's up and running again. Economy starts coming back on track. Trump makes a couple of great speeches. But Biden is more in decline. It's not going to get better.
No, those two face off. Trump's going to light him up like a Comedy Central roast.
He's already dismissing him.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't
Sleepy
know.
Biden.
He's like, but he's saying, like, someone said, Biden said this. He goes, he did. First of all, he didn't write that. It was a Democratic operative. He probably doesn't even know what it says.
He's going to destroy him,
He's
man.
going to kill him, man. I mean, it's such an easy target. It's like Mike Tyson versus a 3-year-old.
It's true.
It really is. It's a terrible fight.
I thought Bernie had a legit chance.
Bernie had a legit chance. He had a legit chance because there's a lot of people that are in the middle, that are, you know, a lot of people that are casually acquainted with politics, that would listen to his message of doing good for the working class people.
I think you helped
doing good
out
for
with
the
that.
poor people.
I think you made him human. When he was on here, I was like, oh, I like that guy. Would you have Biden on?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, man. What if he was like this awesome dude?
Well, I'm
and he's
sure
just
he's a
really
great
nervous
guy.
on stage, and he comes here and just drops knowledge.
No, he never was like that. That's the thing. If you go back and listen to him from when he was younger, he was whip smart. Very smart guy. Very articulate.
Sure.
Very clear.
I'm sure all those.
Very clear talker.
Yeah.
This is a sign of decline. It is what it is.
You wouldn't have him on and have
Dude,
open
I'm done with-
conversation?
I'm done with all that shit. That Bernie Sanders thing was such a bummer.
Why?
Because they turned all the stuff that I did in stand-up and like the things that I've said drunk and
focused
stoned on a
on you.
podcast and put it in quotes as if I'm a homophobe or a transphobe or a racist. Or they just lied to make it look like Bernie was supporting some right-wing person. When meanwhile, I'm left-wing and I've never been right-wing in my life.
But
The
also,
whole-
those people don't matter.
but it didn't matter as much as it made me feel like this is a dirty business. Like I don't want to be a part of your dirty
It's the
business.
dirtiest
Is
business.
they're trying to change people's opinions with deception. It's not like they're trying to tell you how good their guy is. They're using deception.
Yeah.
They're using fuckery.
It's sleazy.
It's sleazy. It's a sleazy business. It's not a meritocracy.
After Bernie came on, did other politicians reach out?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
A lot. Yeah, and they denied it too. I got emails. I'll
Can't say.
release the emails,
Yeah,
bitch.
but who wants
no, a lot of them. A lot of them
bet.
reached out. Well, they reached out to the publicist, but I'm not interested in. Look, I'm only interested in interviewing people that I thought were interesting, that I was interested in, like Andrew Yang. Interested in that guy.
I like him too.
I like him.
Smart guy.
I love Tulsi Gabbard. I just think she's.
I like her too.
You know, she's so dangerous to those people that they wouldn't want. They were changing the rules to keep her from debating.
Fuck.
So yeah, you know, I got to give a head nod because I do remember him talking about it before. Other people wanted to come on the show. I know he mentioned Joe Biden had wanted to come on the show. He said some of the other candidates. I don't remember what names he said, but he said some of the other candidates, and he said no to every one of them, except for Bernie Sanders. Kyle Kalinske helped arrange that. Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang, and of course Tulsi Gabbard. And Rogan definitely likes Tulsi, and I get it. But I do appreciate him having the choice to interview any one of the candidates that he wanted. Getting Yang on there, I do appreciate that because at the time when Yang was running, every little bit helped. Every interview meant something. Every interview, because he was so unknown. So unknown. Even to this day, there's still people who are like, who's Andrew Yang? So every little bit helped. And Joe Rogan has the #1 podcast in America, full stop. So Yang being on that podcast helped a lot. And one of the things I've noticed, especially with YouTube, when you watch a little bit of Rogan, when you watch some Rogan, and it correlates with other things that you watch, YouTube will put it in its recommended. So I'll be here at the computer editing, and I'll have my TV on in the background, sort of white noise, and the Yang interview will come up just randomly. Other interviews that'll come up on Joe Rogan just randomly in the background. That watch time, that YouTube watch time, I tell you. But it's just, I appreciate him having him on there. Again, I know a lot of Yang Gang was like pissed at him. I think I even covered a video about Joe Rogan apologizing about forgetting Andrew Yang. But maybe this will you guys will put him on the forgive you page. I don't know. On that note, I am curious. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments section how many of you guys are actually voting for Biden or writing Yang's name in. I'm very curious now what you guys are thinking. And I believe Joe Biden tried to do like a couple of left-wing ideas, like Social Security or Medicaid or something like that. But Hillary was even farther left on that than he was. It's just not a good look. And then people were, DMing me and inboxing me like, oh, Joe Biden's talking about, erasing student debt and stuff like that. Look, I'm telling you now, hear me now, quote me later. And I've been saying this for a long time. And people actually, the day Sanders dropped out, and I had put like, Donald Trump's going to win re-election. There were people actually coming at me like, I don't want to say defending Joe Biden, but talking about how Trump's easy to beat. These people obviously know nothing. They're Johnny know nothings. And what I kept reiterating was, majority of Sanders supporters are not going to vote for fucking Joe Biden. It's not happening. There's literally nothing he could say or do right now. And I've been saying this for a long time. And it's similar to the Yang effect. A lot of Yang Gang, once Yang was out, and then once nobody was adopting those policies, we're like, I'm fucking done. Good luck. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Good luck. Good luck. And it just happened with the Sanders supporters. A lot of people, they held their nose and they voted for Hillary in 2016. They're going to let the shit burn now. They're going to let it burn. So, as a matter of fact, somebody from his old campaign was just getting interviewed, and she said the same thing. Let's watch that, and then we'll come back.
Let's bring in Teslin Figaro, 2016 Bernie Sanders campaign. Teslin, we hear from Bernie Sanders there saying that Biden will have a problem, that is, with Bernie voters if he doesn't move further to the left on certain issues. How likely is that, do you think?
Oh, it's very likely. Senator Sanders obviously was being nice, I guess, because Joe Biden is his friend. But let me go ahead and give it to you. Straight shot with no chaser. He's going to have a hell of a time moving forward with getting Senator Sanders supporters. I don't care what Senator Sanders said. The bottom line is I have warned folks repeatedly over and over and over that Bernie Sanders supporters are dead serious about that platform. It is platform or else. They could care less about Donald Trump being reelected because they see their lives being affected the same either or. They have no problem going to the convention with delegates in hand, willing to negotiate. And Senator Sanders is not going to be able to just tell everybody just to get behind Joe Biden and think that all is well. The pundits this morning are getting it absolutely incorrect. James Carville was saying, oh, no, everybody's going to come together and vote blue. He has no idea what's in the heart and mind of a true Senator Sanders supporter. He's completely wrong. And I am telling you once again that Senator Sanders supporters will move forward with or without Senator Sanders. So he can either go to the convention and negotiate, or he can fold, and they will move forward with the convention, move forward with the movement without him.
It's interesting because the Democrats, Teslin, have a history of nominating moderates who, well, don't win. I was trying to make a list here. John Kerry, Al Gore, Hillary Clinton. There's not exactly a great track record with those moderate Democrats.
Of course it's not. And I always tell people, I lean center left. I am not a socialist by any stretch of the imagination. I joined Senator Sanders in 2016 because I was anti-establishment. But we could have an entire show on why Democrats keep losing. There are also sectors that still have not had their issues spoken to, particularly black voters. I understand that black voters did vote overwhelmingly for Vice President Joe Biden, but there is still a sector out there of folks who are saying, no, those lists of demands have also not been met, and they will be sitting at home. So I know everybody wants to all get along and have a good kumbaya moment, but Barney, we have a lot to talk about on this subject as soon as we get through this COVID stuff, because it's going to get really real in August. And there's a lot of folks who are disenfranchised and will be further disenfranchised as we continue to move forward through this election.
So yeah, I genuinely think it's going to be a layup for Donald Trump. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Listen, I don't hate Trump. I don't hate. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, I fucking hate Trump. There's a lot of people that like, ooh, they hate Trump. I don't hate Trump. His policies just don't do shit for me. His policies don't do anything for me. That's the issue I have with Trump. I know he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I know he fucking, is a liar. I know he does stupid Twitter shit. All that stuff is superficial. What it comes down to is policy. And his policies don't do shit for me. So that's my main issue with Trump. And Joe Biden's policies ain't going to do shit for me either. So again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. So look, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, just hip thrust that like button. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you don't, let me know in the comment section below. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Stay safe. Peace.